The drama in Salt Lake City has officially crossed state lines, crossed religions, and crossed every single boundary fans thought existed. Because now, out of nowhere, the Church of Satan has entered the chat. And they're not whispering. They're calling out Lisa Barlow by name, accusing her of using their organization for attention, and dragging Vida Tequila right into the firestorm. And the wildest part? Absolutely no one saw this fight coming. It all started with one comment. One line dropped in the middle of a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City episode that suddenly detonated into a full-blown controversy. Lisa Barlow, at a church service led by Mary Cosby, casually compared religious experiences and said she believes anyone can find joy in any religion, except the Church of Satan. And the moment that sentence aired, something shifted. It was like a spark hitting dry grass. The Church of Satan wasted no time, firing back publicly, making it crystal clear they weren't having it. But before we dig into the backlash that's now sweeping across social media, pause. Because if you're watching this and the chaos has already hooked you, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. More stories, more drama, more unexpected celebrity clashes, and trust me, this one only gets wilder. Back to Lisa Barlow. She wasn't trying to create enemies that day. In her mind, she was making a harmless comparison while trying to explain the emotional experience she felt at Mary Cosby's church. She even shared that she went for Mary, hoping maybe for a moment of connection with God and Jesus, even though she's Mormon. But the moment she said the phrase, "except the Church of Satan," the tone shifted, because that wasn't just an opinion. To the Church of Satan, it was a misrepresentation and a doorway into something deeper. David Harris, an actual ordained magister and official media representative for the Church of Satan, stepped forward, not through a shady tweet, not through a random statement, but through a full interview with Newsweek. And he didn't just correct Barlow, he dissected her. Harris said the Church of Satan is never surprised when clout chasers drop their name for attention, especially when they're lying about it. And that word, clout chaser, hit like a punch. Because now, the accusation wasn't about religion, it was about reputation. Harris made it clear that the Church of Satan has never asked for donations. Not tequila, not money, not anything. And then came the line that had Housewives fans frozen in disbelief. He claimed that if Barlow needed to name-drop the Church of Satan for mainstream attention, her tequila must not be any good. That's the kind of insult Housewives cast members typically reserve for each other. Not coming from an official spokesperson of an entire religious organization. Suddenly, a comment that may have been tossed off with a laugh turned into a challenge. And if there's one thing Housewives fans know, it's that Lisa Barlow doesn't take public jabs lightly. But behind this feud lies an even stranger twist. Because Harris didn't just respond with shade, he fired back with philosophy. He said Barlow's comment came from a complete misunderstanding of what Satanism actually is, describing it as a perspective centered on this life being the only life, and a belief that one should live it to the absolute fullest. But pause for a second, because while this back and forth was heating up, fans couldn't help noticing where Lisa was when all this happened, inside Mary Cosby's church. And that environment brings its own level of tension. Mary's church has been surrounded by rumors, questions, and speculation for years. She took over the Faith Temple Pentecostal Church in 1998 after marrying her step-grandfather following her grandmother's death, a story that has fueled endless debate and countless raised eyebrows. And here was Lisa, trying to find spiritual comfort in a place that viewers already see as deeply complicated, only to pull another religion into the moment and ignite a brand new controversy. It's almost poetic. The Real Housewives franchise is built on unexpected conflicts, but this one is unprecedented. It isn't Housewives versus Housewives. It isn't cast versus family. It's reality TV meeting religious institutions, public perception colliding with doctrine, and tequila somehow ending up in the middle. And the pressure doesn't stop here. Because once Harris accused Barlow of lying and clout chasing, fans started asking what exactly he meant. What did Lisa supposedly lie about? Why did he think she was using the church for attention? And what does Vida Tequila have to do with this at all? Those questions form the next layer of this story, a layer that gets darker, stranger, and even more intense. Because according to Harris, This wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was deliberate, a tactic, a play for relevance. And the deeper we go into this story, the more the lines blur between belief, branding, and reality TV manipulation. The next part of this narrative will peel back why the Church of Satan felt the need to publicly correct Lisa Barlow, how fans are reacting, and whether this is the beginning of a full-scale feud with consequences larger than anyone expected. As the backlash spread, fans started digging deeper, replaying the episode and analyzing every word Lisa said. The question that kept surfacing was simple. Why did this comment trigger such a public response? And why was the Church of Satan so quick, almost eager to fire back? What most viewers don't realize is that the Church of Satan rarely steps into pop culture drama unless they believe someone has seriously misrepresented them. So when David Harris called Lisa a clout chaser, it wasn't random. It was intentional. From their perspective, the moment Lisa implied there was something uniquely negative about their belief system, she wasn't simply giving an opinion. She was dismissing something she didn't understand. And to them, that kind of misunderstanding fuels misinformation. Harris pointed out that people often talk about Satanism without knowing what it actually is, painting it with Hollywood stereotypes instead of its real-world philosophy. And in the church's eyes, Lisa became the latest example. But then things shifted again, because Harris didn't just correct Lisa, he reframed the entire situation. He explained that Satanism isn't about worship, darkness, or the supernatural. It's a philosophy rooted in living fully, embracing the only life we have, and refusing to chase after imaginary salvation. It was a worldview presented almost as a counterpoint to everything Lisa was seeking in that church service. And whether she knew it or not, her comment opened the door to a much bigger conversation. What happens when reality TV, personal belief, and public ideology crash into each other? At the same time, fans couldn't ignore the surreal reality of the moment. Lisa Barlow wasn't in her own religious space. She wasn't in a neutral environment. She was inside Mary Cosby's church, a church that has its own long list of controversies and complexities. Many viewers felt that Lisa, in trying to express her emotional experience, ended up stepping on landmines she didn't even realize were there. And by the time the episode aired, those landmines had exploded into a public feud that no producer, no cast member, and certainly no viewer ever expected. But this story doesn't end with criticism. As the conflict unfolded, a bigger, more uncomfortable question began bubbling up. Was this all avoidable? Should Lisa have chosen her words more carefully? Or was the Church of Satan looking for an opportunity to correct a mainstream figure and remind the world of what they actually stand for? Because here's where the real twist comes in. Whether you agree with Lisa or the Church of Satan, both sides inadvertently prove the same point. Words matter. In the world of reality TV, comments get amplified, reactions get intensified, and even a single offhand remark can travel far beyond the scene it was spoken in. Lisa's comment was made during a moment of vulnerability, confusion, and honest reflection. But in the world of public opinion, context gets stripped away. What's left is the quote and the controversy. Meanwhile, the Housewives universe thrives on moments exactly like this. Unexpected clashes, unlikely feuds, ordinary scenes turning extraordinary because one person said something that hit the wrong nerve. This is the magic and the mayhem that keeps fans glued to the unfolding chaos season after season. But the larger question remains. What happens next? Will Lisa respond? Will she address Harris's comments? Will Vida Tequila become part of the storyline again? Or was this the end of that chapter? Knowing Lisa, silence is unlikely. She has never been someone who sits back when her name and her brand are in the spotlight. And with fans now waiting for a reaction, the pressure is building. What's undeniable is this. A single episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City sparked a new kind of controversy, one that reached beyond the cast, beyond the city, and into a space no one ever imagined. The Church of Satan calling out a Bravo star is not just unusual, it's unprecedented. And it leaves viewers wondering how far reality TV influence can reach, and who else might step forward when they feel their name has been used in the wrong way. In the end, this feud highlights a truth that reality TV rarely acknowledges but constantly proves. Every comment has power. Every reaction has consequences. And sometimes the most unexpected battles create the biggest cultural shockwaves. So, whether you think Lisa Barlow crossed a line, or you believe the Church of Satan overreacted, one thing is certain. This moment will go down as one of the most surprising, bizarre, and unforgettable clashes in Real Housewives history. A clash born from a casual comment, fueled by public interpretation, and amplified by a religious organization with a global platform. If you've enjoyed diving into this wild, twisting story, make sure you're subscribed, because the drama in Salt Lake City never sleeps, and neither do the headlines it creates.